She was found face down in the school parking lot. Her hands still had chalk dust on them. Her shoes gone. That was Abigail Faust. Teacher. Nanny. Just trying to make a home in Wisconsin, 2025. You're watching an unbelievable true story, where we only tell real stories. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Abigail was walking out after tutoring kids late. It was cold. Street lights buzzing. She never made it to her car. Police say she was lured by someone she trusted. And that's the part that chills me. Because 80% of abuse cases involve someone the victim already knows. Think about that. Most danger? It don't come from the shadows. It comes from a smile you thought was safe. Now listen. We added a women's self-defense course in the description and first pin comment. Made by cops and martial arts experts. Shows how to break free, escape bigger attackers, and stay calm under pressure. No gym, no fluff. Just 60 minutes of survival training you can do at home. Now stay with me, because we're about to break down who did it, how they got away, and the one move that changed everything. Let's get into the full story. Abigail was only 28 years old. She lived in a small Wisconsin town. Quiet place. Folks waved when you drove by. The kind of place where people still left their doors unlocked sometimes. She loved kids, taught them during the day, then worked nights helping a family with 2 little ones. Everybody said she had this soft way of speaking. Like even when she was mad, it came out gentle. Her mom said she was born with chalk in her hands. That's how much she loved teaching. She wasn't rich. She wasn't famous. But she was the kind of person who made a whole town feel safer. The night it happened, February 2025. It was cold. You know, the kind of Midwest cold where the air stings your face, make your eyes water? Yeah, that cold. The school day had ended. She stayed late, tutoring a few kids who were behind in math. That was Abigail, always giving more time, more heart than anybody asked. She walked out around 8:30 p.m. Parking lot almost empty. Just a few cars under buzzing streetlights. And this is where everything went wrong. A car pulled up near her. Not screeching, not fast, just slow. Like it belonged there. Police later said she probably knew the driver. And that makes sense because Abigail leaned in. She talked to them through the window. She didn't back away. She didn't run. Why would she? 80% of abuse cases come from people the victim already knows. U.S. Department of Justice, 2022. Think about that. It ain't the stranger in the dark alley most times. It's the friend, the coworker, the neighbor, the one you trust. She was 5 steps from her car. That's how close she was to safety. 5 steps. But in those 5 steps, she was grabbed, pulled, gone. Somebody passing by later saw her bag on the ground. One strap ripped clean off. Her phone cracked, face down in a puddle. By the time police showed up, Abigail was already missing. Now, before we go deeper, I need to say this. We tell these stories not just to scare you, but to prepare you. That's why we added a real women's self-defense course in the description and pin comment. It was made by police and martial arts experts. It shows how to break free, escape bigger attackers, and keep calm under pressure. No gym, no fluff, just 60 minutes that might save your life. Because the truth is, most of us freeze when danger hits. Not because we're weak, but because nobody ever showed us what to do. Back to Abigail. Her family said she was supposed to come straight home that night. She never missed a call to her mom. But by 9:15, her mom's phone was still silent. By 10 o'clock, her brother was driving around town, retracing her steps. He found her car in the lot. Doors still locked. Keys inside her bag on the ground. He called the police right there, his hands shaking. Because he knew something bad had already happened. Now let's pause. Imagine being that brother. Your heart beating like it's gonna crack your chest open. The whole lot empty. And your sister's life scattered on the ground. That moment don't leave you. Ever. And here's the worst part. The cameras? Broken. School security had been down for weeks. No video. No license plate. Nothing but the cold night and silence. Police started a search right away. Volunteers. Neighbors. Even some of the kids she taught came out with flashlights, calling her name. Abigail. Abby. But the only answer was the crunch of boots on frozen snow. Here's what we know. Whoever took her knew her routine. Knew she stayed late. Knew she walked out alone. This wasn't random. It was planned. And that's the part that keeps you awake at night. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to go step by step into the search. The people who refuse to give up, and how one strange clue cracked the whole case wide open. But first, remember this. Every 40 seconds, a child goes missing in the U.S. National Center for Missing and Exploited Children 2023. And most of the time, it starts just like this. An ordinary night, one trusted face, and a walk to the car that never ends. The search for Abigail didn't stop that night. It went all the way into the morning. By sunrise, the parking lot was full. Police cars, volunteers with coffee in their hands. Some crying, some silent. Everybody waiting for news. You could feel the fear in the air, like the whole town had stopped breathing. Police set up their command post right there at the school. Detectives walking back and forth, radios crackling. They brought in dogs. German shepherds trained to sniff out anything, clothes, hair, skin. One of the dogs caught a scent by the edge of the lot, followed it down a side street, and then nothing, just dead air, like she vanished into thin air. Now listen. This is the part that messes me up. People think when somebody goes missing, it's loud. Screams. Struggle. Somebody hears something. But that ain't always true. Sometimes it's quiet. So quiet you don't even know it happened until it's too late. And for Abigail, it was too late fast. Her mom told reporters later. She always said she felt safe here. She loved this town. She trusted everyone. And that's the heartbreak right there. Because sometimes the danger ain't the stranger. It's somebody you let close. By day 2, the whole state knew her name. Posters on telephone poles. Social media alerts. Amber alerts buzzing phones all over Wisconsin. You'd be driving down the road and see her face on the highway signs. Missing Abigail Faust, 28 years old. The world was looking, but the world wasn't finding. Police went over her life with a fine-tooth comb. Every friend, every coworker, every person she texted that week. They wanted to know who had a problem with Abigail, who had a reason to hurt her. At first, they couldn't find anybody. She wasn't the type to make enemies. But sometimes, that's exactly why bad people choose you. Because you don't fight back. On day 3, a break. A farmer, about 5 miles out of town, called the sheriff. Said he found a shoe in his field. Small, black, women's size 7. Police drove out, and when they picked it up, it matched the pair Abigail wore that night. Except now it was just one, the other still missing. That shoe changed everything, because it proved one thing. Abigail was out there somewhere, and somebody had taken her far from the school. Police widened the search. Helicopters in the sky, drones scanning fields and rivers, officers knocking door to door, asking if anyone saw a car, headlights, movement. But the answer kept coming back the same. No, nothing. Meanwhile, her family was breaking down. Her mom couldn't eat. Her brother barely slept. Her dad stood outside the school every night, staring at the empty lot. He said, if I just got there 5 minutes sooner, maybe she'd be alive. And that's the weight parents carry. That what if that don't ever go away. Now here's the part where you see how human police really are. One detective said he went home after 48 hours straight on the case. Sat in his car in the driveway and cried. Because he knew the odds. The longer someone's missing, the worse it gets. By day 3, it was already bad. But then, something new. On day 4, police got a tip. A neighbor near the school said they saw a dark SUV that night. Windows tinted, engine running. And here's the kicker. That SUV was seen parked behind the school 2 other nights that week. Same spot, same time. That meant one thing. Somebody had been watching Abigail. Waiting, planning. This wasn't random. This was a hunt. The whole town felt it now. Mom stopped letting kids walk home alone. Folks started locking doors that never had locks before. Even the mailman said he felt different. Fear had moved in, and it wasn't leaving. But police, they were working harder than ever. They pulled traffic cam footage, checked gas station cameras, and then, boom, they found it. The SUV, caught on video just 10 minutes after Abigail was last seen, driving fast, out of town, toward the back roads. License plate was blurry, but the shape, the color, it gave them a lead. And here's where things get real scary. Because that SUV, it belonged to someone everybody knew. Not a stranger, not some drifter. but a man right from that same small town. Somebody Abigail trusted. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to get into who this man was, what the police found when they searched his house, and the one piece of evidence that finally told the truth. But first, remember this. According to The WHO, 1 in 3 women will face physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. World Health Organization, 2021, 1 in 3. That's not somewhere else. That's right here. That's your friend, your sister, maybe even you. And that's why this story matters. That SUV changed everything. Police knew it was their thread, and if they pulled hard enough, the whole story would come loose. They traced it back to a man named Daniel Cross, 42 years old, lived on the edge of town, married once, divorced, no kids. People knew him. He worked maintenance jobs around the school, fixed doors, changed light bulbs, the kind of guy you see in the hallway and nod at. Nobody thought much about him. But here's the thing. Abigail knew him too. Police rolled up to his house on day 5. White siding, broken porch steps, dog barking in the yard. Daniel answered the door calm. Too calm. Said he didn't know nothing about Abigail. Said he was home alone that night. But the cops? They already had questions. See, the SUV was sitting right there in the driveway. Dark blue, tinted windows. And when they leaned in close, they saw something on the back seat. A scrap of fabric. Pink. Torn. It looked just like the scarf Abigail wore that night. They got a warrant fast. Searched the whole place. And man, what they found. It was bad. First, in the garage, a piece of rope. Frayed. Knotted. Then, inside, tucked under a pile of dirty clothes. Abigail's other shoe. The missing one. That was it. Daniel Cross was arrested on the spot. Charged with kidnapping. And later, murder. The town froze. Because how could it be him? This quiet maintenance man? The one who fixed the squeaky door in the gym? But it was him. And the truth was about to come out. Police questioned him for hours. At first, he denied everything. Said the shoe wasn't hers. Said the scarf must have blown into his car. But you can't explain away blood. And they had blood. Tiny spots on the rope. DNA came back. Abigail's. And that's when Daniel broke. Not with tears. Not with shame. But with anger. He slammed his fist on the table and said, "She didn't fight back." Like that made it okay. Man, let me stop right there. Because that's the sickest thing. He wanted control. He wanted power. And he thought silence meant permission. But silence? That ain't consent. That's fear. Daniel finally told police what happened. He'd been watching Abigail for weeks. Waiting for the right night. He parked that SUV behind the school. Waited until she was alone. Then he pulled up, rolled down the window, and smiled. That smile tricked her, made her lean in. And in that moment, he grabbed her, dragged her inside the car, drove off before anybody knew. He took her to an old storage shed on his property. Cold, dark, no windows, just a concrete floor and walls that held in every scream. Neighbors later said they thought they heard banging that night. But they didn't call, didn't want to be nosy. And that's how she was left alone, fighting for her life in the dark. Police found her body on day 6, inside that same shed, lying under a tarp, bruises on her arms, rope burns on her wrists, chalk still on her fingers. The medical examiner said she fought hard, but she couldn't win. And just like that, Abigail Faust was gone. Now here's the part that rips you apart. The kid she taught? They held up signs at a vigil that said, "Miss Faust, we love you." Little hands holding candles, crying because their teacher never came back. And her mom had to stand in front of cameras and say the words no parent should ever say. "My daughter was a good person. She didn't deserve this." Daniel Cross went to trial later that year. No jury had mercy for him. The evidence was too much. The shoe, the scarf, the rope, the blood. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. And even then, people in town said life wasn't enough. Because Abigail's life was gone. And no sentence brings her back. Now let's pause here. Because this ain't just about one man. This is about how easy it is for violence to hide in plain sight. The World Health Organization said in 2021, 1 in 3 women worldwide will face physical or sexual violence in their lifetime. 1 in 3. Look around. That's your neighbor, your sister, your coworker. And Abigail, she became that number. That's why we added a real self-defense course in the description and pin comment. It's not about turning you into a fighter. It's about giving you a chance, showing you how to break free, how to run, how to stay calm when the world goes dark. 1 hour that might save your life. Abigail Faust's story didn't end in fear. It ended in people remembering her as more than what was done to her. Her students raised money for a scholarship in her name. Her family started a foundation for women's safety. But the pain, the hole she left, that never heals. And the scariest part, Abigail never saw it coming. She trusted the wrong smile. And in 5 steps, her whole life was stolen. After the trial, the town changed. Not the streets, not the houses, but the way people looked at each other. Every parent watching their kids, every woman walking to her car at night, every teacher locking her classroom door. They saw what happened to Abigail Faust. It wasn't just a story on the news anymore. It was real. It was here, and it could happen to anyone. Her family tried to keep moving. Her mom started a small foundation to help local women learn to protect themselves. Her brother took up volunteer work with kids who had lost a loved one. Her father? He went back to the school every week. Not for closure. He knew that wouldn't come. He went because Abigail loved it there, and he wanted her spirit to stay alive. The town still whispers her name. Parents tell their daughters and sons to never walk alone. Not after dark, not without a buddy, and not without knowing who to trust. Because one of the worst parts of Abigail's story is that the danger was hidden in plain sight. Police learned something important from this case. Most abductions, 80% of them, are done by someone the victim already knows. U.S. Department of Justice, 2022. That's why awareness matters. That's why teaching self-defense, teaching kids to speak up, teaching families to notice warning signs. That's why it matters more than anything. At the trial, the details came out slow and painful. Daniel Cross had been planning this for weeks, even months. Not just a crime of opportunity, a crime of patience. And every little moment leading up to that night mattered. Abigail leaving the classroom late, walking to her car, 5 steps from safety. All those tiny moments, they stacked up against her. The jury heard the sounds of the crime. Not actual audio, but the descriptions. The rope tightening, the struggle, the silence that followed. The courtroom gasped at every detail. Because it was real, and real hurt worse than any movie ever could. And yet, even in all that darkness, people remembered Abigail for who she really was. Her laughter, the way she always smelled like cinnamon and coffee. The little notes she left on student desks. The patience she showed every child, every day. Her story became a reminder. Life is fragile. Trust is precious. And even ordinary people can face extraordinary danger. Outside the courthouse, people held up signs. Justice for Abigail. Never forget. Little kids on shoulders, crying into blankets. Parents holding them close, whispering, "We'll protect you." Always. It was grief and courage wrapped up in one. And it hit everyone who saw it. Police said Daniel Cross thought he was clever. Thought he could hide. But he underestimated a town that cared. Neighbors reporting strange cars. A farmer noticing a single shoe. A mom calling the police after her daughter didn't come home. Sometimes, it's the little things that stop the darkness. Even after his arrest and conviction, Abigail's family worked to make something positive. They taught self-defense classes in schools. They brought in counselors. They wanted other families to know. Danger doesn't have to win. And that's why we added a women's self-defense course in the description and pin comment. It's 1 hour. Real tips from police and martial arts experts. Shows how to escape, how to stay calm, how to fight when it matters. Because the truth is, every moment counts. Her story left a mark beyond the town. It made people in other states check their routines, lock their doors, notice the people around them. Some people even said Abigail's courage in life, her kindness, helped teach a whole generation how to be careful without being afraid. But the pain didn't end. Her family still lights candles for her. Her students still talk about her. Her mom still fights to make the world a little safer. And even though Abigail can't come back, her story still saves lives. And that's the thing about real stories like this. They're ugly, they hurt, but they teach, and they warn. Because what happened to Abigail Faust? It could happen to anyone. Your sister, your mom, your neighbor, a friend you never thought could be in danger.